Cuban community is furious with Khloé Kardashian for taking a photo while she was in Cuba with a monument and a wall that was written with Fidel Castro on it. So it just says Fidel, as you can see. So they're upset because they feel it's insensitive to the fact that Fidel Castro is a dictator. He destroyed the lives of so many Cubans, and I can understand their sensitivities to it. But at the same time, it is kind of interesting to see Fidel and then a symbol of American capitalism in the same picture.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you could take it as an argument of a slap across the face of Castro.
You could. Now, if Khloé Kardashian was smart enough to realize that, she could have spun the story in that way, but she didn't. Okay, she hasn't released any statements or anything. But here's another part of the story that I really want to bring to everyone's attention. I get it. I totally understand why people would be sensitive to that photo. But at the same time, if you sat her down and tried to have a conversation with her about the Cuban Revolution and what it did to some Cubans, do you think she would have any idea? Do you think she did that intentionally to be insensitive? No, she had no idea. That was something that she did unwittingly. She does a lot of things unwittingly.
Yeah, look, I had the great misfortune of watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians on the plane because I've been traveling, and they have TV right in front of your face. It's like, okay, let me check out what this thing is for like 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It was so unbelievably vapid. I literally couldn't believe it.
What?
Like
it's not good?
Like, I know, but you have to understand, I don't watch any reality shows. So, like, when you
have been
watch...
watching the presidential...
That's true, I have been watching the elections.
Okay.
Okay, but so when the whole show is about them going, oh my God, like, I was so offended when Susie or Sally did that. Another one's like, oh yeah, totally. And then when she's not around, be like, can you believe Khloé did that? And then talk behind her back. And they all pretend like they're not on TV. Like, oh, I don't, like, they'll say like, oh, I don't want my mom finding out.
There's a camera right there. I know.
What do you mean you don't want your mom finding out? She's gonna watch it on TV. You saying this, right? So how do people watch there like jackasses and go like, oh yeah, I hope her mom doesn't find out. Okay. Anyway, so don't take these people too seriously, but of course, people are outraged. So let's go to the outrage and then we'll debunk it.
So according to People, a slew of followers called the 31-year-old ignorant, which is true, and insensitive, while others demanded she take down the photo. In fact, representatives, our lawmakers are responding to this,
Oh,
most
thank
of
God.
which are in South Florida, as you can imagine.
Oh, it
okay.
should be snatched down.
So one representative, state lawmaker, said, another day in Cuba seems to bring another selfie in Havana for the Kardashians. While Khloé is taking photos with a sign that says Fidel, she should have at least had some awareness that Fidel would have prohibited the Kardashian-style show. He would have. So I don't know if she's aware of that, but again, she's not aware of much. So am I being rude? Like,
no, of course not. I mean, now that I watched them talk for 5 minutes, I thought and now I realize we've been overly generous to them throughout. But the person who's really at fault here is Ileana Ros-Lehtinen. That's the Cuban-American Republican legislator from down in Florida. But she's a U.S. Congresswoman, okay? And she is part of the Republican obstructionism that makes sure that we don't pass any laws. Right now, we're not looking at a Supreme Court nominee. We're not passing any laws.
Oh,
okay.
really?
Now,
well, good. Then I'm glad she's offended.
But in this case, she's too busy to pass any laws. But if the Kardashians are doing something, she's on it. She's on it.
But do you understand why? It's because she's speaking to her constituents. Her constituents are Cuban Americans that fucking hate Castro, right? And so if she's going to speak out about this, easy way to win brownie points among your constituents. That's it.
Totally. So look, let's adjudicate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I get it, and I've never worn a Che Guevara shirt. Even though I admit, and these people will take this out of context, go start editing.
Don't say it.
No. I admit that the shirt looks cool, okay?
Oh.
Yeah, the guy, he looks like a badass. He's got the beret on. He's the only guy who's ever pulled off a beret well, okay? And he's got the flowing hair and the thing. And
Dom DeLuise.
A lot of revolutionary Dom DeLuise shirts are on, too. dumb. We will make those a shop.tyt.com.
Yes, let's do
Anyway,
it.
so the shirts look cool and the posters look cool, but I know what he did, and I know he killed a lot of people, and he's not the right guy to celebrate. Okay?
Right.
And so I've never had those posters. I've never worn those shirts. So I get why you shouldn't do it, and that's why I don't do it.
Cenk
right?
Uygur, not a good guy?
No, it turns out not exactly.
Boy,
No.
I got a couple of things I got to fix after this.
Okay, now, should you make a national case? She's literally making a federal case of this, right? She took a picture with the word Fidel next to, by the way, Khloé, to her credit, looked good in that picture. It was a really nice looking
They
picture.
said to her, hey, don't make a federal case out of this. She said, county? County case?
Hey, so that's a really cool looking picture.
And
okay?
that is a banging nude colored dress. And look at that's a brilliant duster coat with a floppy hat.
Okay, so just because we don't hate her for taking that picture doesn't mean that we think Fidel Castro is a good guy. We know Fidel Castro is not a good guy, and we know that he killed a lot of people and he prevented freedom in Cuba and all these years, etc.
Fidel, not good.
No, Jimmy, take a note on that one. Fidel, not good, not good.
That's
okay.
two.
That's okay. We correct things all the time on the show.
You sure this isn't racist?
So, but that's the thing. Everybody's looking to get offended, right? And so there are real things you can get offended about. And
I am not looking to get offended, Jake. That is such bullshit. I'm a little upset about that.
So
How dare you put me in with those people? I'm not looking to get offended. I am not.
sorry, Jimmy, for having caused offense to you that I lumped you in with those people. So, guys, there's a lot of super important things in the world. So don't distract from them by talking about nonsense, right?
Instance.
Like it's Khloé, by taking that picture, did not empower the Cuban government to take away freedoms from people. It's not like people in Cuba are going to look at that picture and go, "Oh yeah, but I think Fidel was right."
By the way, to add something to this story that actually is really interesting. So Vice did this documentary about Cuba, about the youth in Cuba. That was so interesting. It's on HBO, so you can check it out if you have access to it. They were talking about how the youth in Cuba is so obsessed with American culture, like American music, and they have like this underground version of internet there where they basically pass out like flash drives and USBs to one another.
Undernet.
The undernet, in order to, get access to the same, pop culture that we have access to here in the United States. That's going to change Cuba.
Yes,
Opening up those
yes.
borders, that's going to change Cuba. They want American culture so badly. They want capitalism so badly. That's the only way to fight the Castros.
But
Why couldn't you just say the opposite? Exactly what you said. What she's doing is, look, he lost, we're winning, we're here now, it's over. And it could be the exact opposite.
I think they're worried that the picture glorifies him and celebrates him, which again, I understand those sensitivities, but at the same time, ignore the idiots like the Kardashians and focus on what relations between Cuba and America will do eventually.